I was on the East Coast about 3 weeks ago, and Randy Scar will tell you, I had a customer meeting, and it was just an old customer who was an old friend, and we sat down for breakfast on the way to another meeting, and we were talking about her business, and I was talking about Philip's business. And then she said, did you hear about the U.S. Oncology thing that McKesson bought them? I said, yeah, I did. She said, well, we bought out that U.S. Oncology Center. I said, really? Well, that's interesting. So you guys are running that now? And she said, no, we're actually going to shut it down, and we're going to be building a new oncology center. I said, oh, really? You know, well, that's interesting. It turned into a whole conversation that turned into a whole opportunity, right? Randy's been in touch with her. Happened completely by accident and happened in the last 3 weeks. I throw that out because it's opportunities like that that are going to accelerate our business. And it's good partners to work with that are going to help us add value and create solutions that will deliver against those opportunities.
So what is our Philips approach in oncology? So we talk about, based on our deep understanding of the care cycle pathway, because that really is the fundamental of everything that we do, we will develop comprehensive, integrated, patient-centric solutions connected from the hospital to the home. And the home is really the new ecosystem of oncology, and I think we're going to be a first mover in that space, that support clinical practice, improve patient care, and reduce cost across the healthcare system. So what does this all mean? What this means is, if you're a true oncology company, you have to take a comprehensive look at how you provide your solutions. You can't just be focused on the front end around prevention. You can't just be focused on the therapy side. If you're a true oncology company, you take a comprehensive look at how you provide solutions. And that is exactly what we intend to do today. And if you look at where we have solutions, and I'm going to run through a build of our portfolio, you're going to see that we have a lot of solutions in imaging, a lot of solutions in therapy, and we even have home solutions that we can position today for patients. The other part of that was the business piece. The clinical solutions are important, but so are the business, and Cancer Center is right there. So if you remember nothing else today, remember it's the clinical plus the business that really bring better care to the patient. Cancer centers are real. Again, a lot of people saying, is this really happening? Yes, there's at least 60 to 70 new centers being built in North America, and we also see this growing as a global initiative. It's real, it's happening, we have a first mover advantage. It's really a two-pronged approach. It's ground-up centers, but it's also expansion projects where we can sell today, and it's a quick or faster book and bill. The other thing you have to be aware of is in cancer centers, they're segmented. They're not all the same. They're not all NCIs. So we have to be prepared to know how we put our solutions together for those customers. And you'll hear more about that today. I think Marsha will talk a little bit about that. So where do we start? What do we have? So we have tremendous radiation oncology solutions. If you build the portfolio out, you can see that we are building out solutions by disease, and we use really a very detailed process to understand how we do that, and we work with the business units on that. Again, we have additional things. We have our healing environments, we have our home solutions, and we have a lot of exciting things in development. As I mentioned, it's solutions in and out of the hospital, and we do have solutions in the community. We have solutions in acute care, and it's not all about the imaging business. It's about the monitoring business, and this is where a lot of the monitoring solutions lie. It's about our informatics and IT business, and certainly about our post-treatment. So if you look a little bit at the home, and I'll just spend a moment talking about that, you know, preparation for home, we have the EICU, we have tele-oncology, active therapy management, and post-therapy recovery. And if you look at our solutions in the home, as we have them now, cancer patients have all of these issues. They have sleep disorders. They require home monitoring solutions. They have respiratory care issues. So we can actually bundle our home solutions today for cancer patients. The cancer opportunity is real, and I want to give a lot of credit to Randy and Stefka and the North America team that have been working really hard. Started the call campaign many, many months ago, has yielded incremental business. So looking at the combination of the funnel, as well as new cancer centers, and I know Stefka, you heard her today, said that she's received even more leads at about 45 million. So now it's our job to move forward, and we've got to get these closed, and we've got to get some of this business. But I think it's real, and it's there, and it's today. And finally, let's talk and kind of finish on the business aspects of cancer. So when you go into a cancer center and you see a service line administrator, what are they thinking about? They're not thinking about the specifics on the product. They're thinking about accountability, competition, how can they be more competitive? What are the patient expectations? What are the clinical practice needs? How do you deal with reimbursement? And so on and so on. And the partners will be able to talk to us about their solutions and how we're going to work together today. And if you get to the C-level, which you do, you know that they're looking at feasibility, market analysis. Is there a business model for this? How am I going to finance this? Where am I going to get the money to do it? What's the design and build, and what are the operations? Can somebody help me with all of that? And again, we have a solution for that, and you're going to hear about that today. Oncology is our future. There are a lot of rich products that we have in development. The interventional suite of the future, I could go on and on about that. Digital pathology I've mentioned, home chemo, cancer care, and our consultative services, and we're going to continue to build complementary services to be more comprehensive for our customers. Again, looking forward to the discussions with our partners. And finally, I need your help in shaping the future of cancer. We have a legacy of innovation. We have clinical and workflow solutions around the care cycle. Remember, to be a player, you need to be comprehensive. And we will have business solutions that we can offer to our customers. This is our pathway to the future. Thank you very much. I always like to do things that are challenging. So I wanted to go into a customer site that had no Philips equipment. And I wanted to hear what was on the mind of that customer, and I wanted to test the hypothesis. What about our approach to cancer centers? Is it something that is crazy? Does this resonate with you? I wanted, again, kind of unknown territory, unknown space. A fascinating interview, a very delightful physician, and that's what you're going to hear now. Thanks.
I'm Dr. Shyam Periani. I'm with the Florida Radiation Oncology Group and the Integrated Community Oncology Network. I'm the medical director and managing partner of the Radiation Oncology Group. The Florida Radiation Oncology Group has a long history. It was founded in 1957 by one of our senior partners, Dr. Walter Scott, and subsequently joined by my dad. Over that period of time, since I've been there for 28 years or so, we've grown from one facility and 3 physicians to 24 facilities in Florida, and we have approximately 80 to 90 physicians in the whole system. I was accused by my dad of trying to be the McDonald's of radiation therapy. He thought I was going to put a radiation therapy at every corner. And so my concept, and being grown up in the United States, and McDonald's was a new franchise at that time, was that it was convenient to go get food anytime you wanted. Well, why can't healthcare be convenient? Our goal has always been to decentralize care, take care to the patients. We were actually one of the first users of PET-CT. We started doing PET actually in 1999, and then followed with a PET-CT scanner in 2004. And we were the first mobile PET-CT scanner in the state of Florida. We were also the first dedicated PET-CT treatment planning system in the world on a mobile platform. So we have actually 4 mobile PET-CT scanners that go to all of our facilities that I mentioned. And that allows the patient to have the treatment planning actually done at the same site. They have the planning done and the treatment at the same site. And then when they come for their follow-up studies, they go back on the same PET-CT scanner and have the study done. We also were the first to develop the first MR dedicated planning system for radiation therapy in a mobile platform. So again, the patient can have the MR done right at the same site. They have the CT scan also done back to back in the same site, and then have the treatment and treatment planning done in the same site again, so ease of access. And there's no way to duplicate that in a normal radiology department. Well, healthcare is fragmented, and the reason it's fragmented is because we often don't have good solutions that put all the components of care together. Most companies have taken a stance on just selling equipment, i.e. being a vendor. Well, anyone can be a vendor, but I think it'll take a creative company to come up with a global solution where you help the provider to deliver whatever component of care that they are missing. So if Philips can design an integrated solution which allows the healthcare provider to provide the whole continuum of care, from imaging to treatment to delivery to home care, then I think there's a huge need out there for that solutions company.
SG2, as you know, is a forecasting firm. A large part of our business is to help hospitals and health systems understand trends and opportunities. And I think this is particularly interesting in the cancer space to look at these curves. You can see a traditional population-based forecast here. On the left-hand side, you're seeing inpatient discharges. On the right-hand side, outpatient encounters. Now, the first thing I want to call to your attention is the difference in the scale of these two graphs. Pat, you said more than 100. I'm going to correct you. 117 is the magic number for 2011 in terms of the number of outpatient encounters versus inpatient. But look what's happening with the forecast. This is also really interesting. If you do these forecasts based on population, and then if you start factoring in epidemiological factors, things like obesity, economic factors, things that relate to our ability to actually look at the cost of care, where care is delivered, and so on, what you see is that that outpatient trend is really accelerating. And I think it's fair to say that cancer really is now an outpatient disease.
We've already talked about the tremendous growth that's happening in cancer care, but survivorship, as Pat alluded to, in the next 40 years is going to double. It's going to outstrip the number of people who get cancer. They will be surviving much longer. And what we've talked about already, and through some of the partners that we've had, is no longer can we allow that patient to be the carrier of their record. Because I will promise you, if you ask a patient, what did you have done for your treatment? They'll say, I got some radiation, I got burned by that. I mean that jokingly, folks, my elector friends. I got poisoned by that chemotherapy. Well, what drugs did you get? I don't know, I got that red drug. What's it called? It made me sick. Well, what surgery did you get? Well, here's my scar. Do you want to see what my scar looks like? But now we need to know what that cancer looks like. What does Pat's, I won't use Pat's name, what does Sue's breast cancer look like? Not just breast cancer in general. And we can no longer ask these people to be the carrier of that information. And you'll see a video later that really brings home how important that is.
My background is I was the founder of OnCure Medical. I grew that company over 10 years to 40 centers, 3 states. And we saw a really powerful video of a pioneer physician earlier, Dr. Sean Periani. He was one of my physician partners, and we provided him with the capital, the management expertise, and the development expertise to help him grow over that 10 years. So I was great to see him up there. Today, my company, ION, is a company that also provides expert development, expert management services. We currently have 12 centers. We are in development with several others, with some key hospital partners. A couple of those partners are Tenet, HCA. We're excited to be a Philips partner.
There's been a lot of discussion today about the importance of the equipment, the building, having the patients, getting them treated, but unfortunately we all have to talk about that business end of making sure the reimbursement's there and that the money is coming in so that we can continue to deliver that care. And that's really where Revenue Cycle Incorporated is focused. We actually have another company which she touched on, Revenue Cycle Billing, and that is a third-party medical billing company that specializes in oncology.
When he approached our senior VP to be here, today. I personally asked if we could pinch hit and bring Ron Gabinelli and myself, because what I really think this project is all about is the relationships in the trenches. And Ron and I each run half the country in all product lines, and this was just the beginning for us to get to know some of the guys in the sales organization and start to nurture those relationships so that when we do find common customers that we can all go and go after, we know the right resources to deploy in those situations, and Ron and I understand what you guys are talking to at the C-level. So I like the fact that Jeff brought that up, because the end result is we like to win in an oncology space. Yes. We do a pretty good job of it now already, and I think with this Philips partnership we can do a lot better, and I think we're all in the right, like in the perfect timing of all of this.
Well, I'm Marcia Fountain. I'm president of the oncology group, and we've been in business since the mid-'80s. Our predecessor company was Oncology Associates, and when the president retired, we changed the name. And as I tell my mother, I sell vaporware. All the folks who've talked so far, you all understand what they do. It's very concrete and it's very clear. We help finance, or we help hospitals develop their programs, or we make sure they get their money in, or we sell equipment. And I overlay all of that with what we call strategic planning and program development, the stuff that makes you go to sleep. What we do is we go in and provide anything related to cancer care consulting that anybody would ever need.
We've been focused for the past 7 years on providing service and really streamlining access to electronic medical records that are scattered around the country. And you're absolutely right. A huge focus is on patient satisfaction and trying to make the experience much more convenient. And we're not as sexy as some of the other companies up here. What we do is we are really focused on providing a service, taking the burden off the patient, but also off the cancer center staff, being able to get that outside information, whether it's documents, whether it's full diagnostic quality imaging, or pathology that's scattered around the country. We're focused on doing that and doing it very quickly and efficiently.
We're going to introduce you to South Coast, a community health system in southeastern Massachusetts, and to the 5-year journey that they went through to develop a comprehensive cancer center. In the video you're about to watch, the Vice President for Oncology Services at South Coast will discuss the challenges and key decision points that they encountered to bring their cancer center to reality. It's been 3 years since South Coast it launched their initial cancer program. And the team is already in an intensive evaluation of what's working well with their program, where they need to improve, and as the team themselves expressed it, how to bring South Coast from good to great.
My name is Eileen Shagru McInerney. I joined the South Coast Centers for Cancer Care a year and a half ago. I'm the Vice President of Oncology Services. The Cancer Center, we have 2 locations. Today we're here at Fairhaven, and this is our newest center. And then we have a location at Charlton Memorial Hospital attached to the hospital. Both medical oncology and radiation oncology are offered at both locations. This has been a long process for South Coast. It precedes me. There were senior executives who saw the need for South Coast to provide cancer care directly. As the powers to be looked at the demographics and the market, it was quite apparent that there was a lot of leakage up to Boston. Many people were leaving this area, heading north for care. And so they began to put together a business plan. There was a decision made that in order to be a sort of recognized competitor in this community with Dana-Farber in our backyard, it was important to have an affiliation, a stamp of approval, so to speak, around best practices. And the decision was to go with MD Anderson. My understanding is it was funded a third philanthropy, a third from capital, and a third from bond. So all in all, about a $60 million project. In terms of sort of relationships and referrals and alignment of physicians, South Coast has enjoyed a fairly non-competitive area. Most docs practiced in the community, had enough business, took good care of patients, and all was right with the world. Everything has stepped up in terms of competition. Since then, South Coast has moved in the direction of employing more docs and still in the process of evaluating kind of what you need to do directly and what you might do through a contractual arrangement. When the planning was initiated for our program, it was very important that everything be under one roof. What was important to those involved was that it be patient-centered, and I know that word is used a lot, but that the space be open and airy and inviting. The construction is often the quickest piece. The planning, I would say, was at least a year. IT support is critical in developing a program such as this, particularly in the radiation oncology arena. This was all very new for South Coast, and IT, finance and billing, sort of operations, brand new program. There were many hiccups. It's been about a year and a half that we've been running a thoracic multidisciplinary clinic. Lung cancer is very prominent in this community. This year, we're in the midst of developing a feasibility assessment for head and neck, and that will be held here at Fairhaven, and then GU, which would be back at Charlton, because for brachytherapy we use the ORs there. We are also this year developing a system-wide breast program. We found that we lose about a third of our patients after an abnormal mammogram to another location, and then another third after an abnormal biopsy. A comprehensive breast program is extremely important for many reasons. Certainly one is reimbursement. As we know, sort of payers are looking for breast programs that are accredited so that they have that stamp of quality. Initially, when we went into it, we thought that we would be creating one location for a breast program, but in reality, our markets are very different. Our surgeons are sort of uniquely serving that market, and so we're going to be having a location in all three areas. In my tenure here, our relationship with home care has been fairly traditional. Either they are under the traditional skilled benefit because they have a skilled need, maybe a pump set up in the home, or teaching around, you know, a trach or a G-tube or whatever, and then hospice. We are currently working closely with home care and with the inpatient medicine care center in developing a palliative care program. Well, I think that one of the important sort of qualities that I would look for in a vendor is honesty. I know that sounds like mom and apple pie, but you know, either you can or you can't deliver. During the planning, design, and building phase, and now today even operationalizing the program, there are challenges. I think that in every industry, knowledge is power, and there are silos. So when you look at one component, let's say, for example, the equipment in radiation oncology, and then the planning software, and then the scheduling or the electronic medical record, you're dealing with multiple vendors who truly don't understand the other product fully, and there can be some disconnects in what you expect the deliverables are. At this point, we're in year 3 of operation, and as with any new business cycle, year 3 is the most challenging year. Often you need to sort of step back and be critical in evaluating yourself. Sometimes we invent component parts. So we've been having a lot of discussion about knowing that we're good, we provide good care, quality care, but how do we get to great? What's going to make us stand apart from the patient experience?
We're going to shift gears here for just a second, and let me say that, we've looked at the Cancer Center from this business perspective, but we're always focused on the patient and their pathway of care. Now we, as you've heard a number of times today, we see the our patient-centric approach actually spanning not just through treatment, it's home to home. We see that complete continuum. And so I think it's important for us to learn a bit more, to really see what we're talking about, understand more about what it is for that patient when they do go home and the quality and type of care they're requiring. So let's learn a little bit more about the challenges of caring for the cancer patient at home, and we have a video about that.
My oncology home care background started in 1989 in Newark, Delaware. I founded a company called Oncology Care Home Health Specialists. I was working at the time as the sole oncology clinician for a large visiting nurse association. I was returning from holidays and weekends to angry messages from oncologists who were disappointed in the care delivery that their patients had received, not by misintentioned nurses, but simply by nurses who didn't have experience with cancer care. So patients were being sent to the hospital inappropriately, or they were being kept home inappropriately. So I started a company just dedicated to cancer care and have been involved in oncology home care ever since. Home care is significantly different from hospice care. Home care is really focused on an intermittent, short-term injection of targeted help to try to get you back to independent living. There are all types of things that home health is responsible for monitoring. So if you think of the basics, like blood work, like PT-INRs and CBCs, vital signs, weights, nutrition and hydration status are all an important part of what we would monitor. Obviously, symptoms are an important part of what we monitor. We can also help doctors identify a patient's performance status. Performance status in a cancer patient is a key indicator of whether they should be staying on their treatment path or not, or whether we need to alter that path. You may have 3 different oncologists, a medical, a surgical, and a radiation oncologist, all responsible for different aspects of your care. You additionally have your primary care physician. You may have other specialists. If you have comorbidities, you're going to have your cardiologist still managing your cardiac medications and treatment. Getting all of them, and this is by their own admission, to be talking to one another about what's going on with you is a big challenge. So sadly, the burden of that often, at least perceptually, falls to the patient themselves. And they share with us repeatedly, they feel anxious about making sure that information is getting to the proper doc at the proper time. They feel responsible for carting and porting information between doctors. They stress out about making sure they're collecting the data that they should bring to that next office visit. And home care can play a helpful role in helping organize people and helping them feel prepared as they walk between the worlds of multiple docs. If you think about it, some of the most significant drivers of cost, and especially with cancer patients, are visits to the emergency department and hospitalizations that are unwarranted. If we're on board, again, as the eyes and ears of the doctor, assessing patients on a regular basis, whether in person or via the telephone, we should identify issues early and get prompt, appropriate intervention before a patient should have to go to the ER or hospital. Home care and cancer care in particular needs to be ready for the next treatment that's coming along that will significantly impact the industry. And right now it's the advent of oral oncolytics. It's a field that changes so frequently. It's a field where there's always new therapy on the horizon. It's a field laden and riddled with intense symptom and palliative care management. Any way that we can harness technology to collect data related to symptoms, to give patient feedback related to those symptoms in real time, to track that data longitudinally and serve it up to a provider who now will have information they've never had before and make clinical decisions based on that. I think that's the direction for cancer that technology has to move.
Thank you everybody for being here. My name is Steph Kokonik. I'm the Oncology Marketing Director, and I work very closely with Randy. We're the GSS North America interface for the Cancer Center Group. Real brief, what's the engagement process looking like? There's going to be 3 different ways we're going to receive leads, and we've seen them all until now. We get leads from trade shows, we get leads from webinars. The second program is partners bring us leads, and thirdly, we get leads from the account managers, and the more we train them, the more we hear from them. So how are we going to go about it? When we get a lead from one of the key account managers, we all sit together and strategize about who to involve, who knows the most about the account, and then we go and meet with the customer as a team. If we get a lead from a webinar, it comes to me and Randy, and then we deploy it. We pull the right account managers to the table. Last but not least, if ION or Electa or one of the other partners brings us a lead, then we, with the help of Jeff Miller and Mike Valley's team, will engage our side of the house, our sales force, and then with the help of the partner, all of us will sit down and strategize, then go and meet the customer.
Yeah, and the whole idea is to meet with the customer, understand what their needs are, and then bring all of the different people within our family, our extended family of our partners, back to the customer with solutions.
2 important things to remember are account managers will get their full commission regardless whether we engage or don't engage in the sale. And the second one is the partners will not be contacted directly, so Randy and I will be controlling the sales process.
Many of you know that I am a cancer survivor, and one thing I know is that you don't take half measures with cancer. If your protocol calls for chemotherapy and radiation, you do it. If your protocol calls for brachytherapy and external beam, you do it. No half measures. Now, we can't take half measures with this approach. We all have to team up to excel in the room, outside the room, with our partners. You know, the goal is to make the company up there the partner of choice in cancer care.
So it's been a really interesting week and an incredible day. So I want to start by saying a few things. When you take a look at the mega meeting in general on how we brought everybody together, the core and the thoughts of this meeting revolved around the customer. It revolved around the customer's expectations have changed and how the customer now and what they do and what's keeping them up at night, and taking a look at what we do. You know, this isn't about boxes. You heard some of us say it's not about boxes. It's really about solutions, and it's really about understanding what keeps our customers up at night. And what I've been preaching all week to our team about understanding their customers is that we need to get deep and wide. Somebody said it's not about just cardiology anymore. It's not about radiology. It's about, from my perspective, it's about changing our call patterns. When I talked about what happens in the ED department, when I talked about what's happening in oncology, because I've talked to Pat and Randy, and you know, I'm carrying the flag and I'm a champion, and I actually wish that that this session would have been part of our general session, and all 3,500 employees could have had a chance to see how this company is moving forward and developing solutions that are going to help our customers, help the patients, help their community, and overall help improve healthcare. So as I listened to everything that transpired today, there's 3 things I want to say. What we're going to have to do is awareness, education, and execution. And I don't know one customer, one hospital, one integrated health network that if they're considering cancer, and as we heard today, from a demographic perspective, based on what's going on, this is the decade of where cancer is going to overtake cardiac disease. And I can't imagine from my perspective not engaging a hospital administration or anybody and say, do you understand that we have a team that can answer all your questions? And we've partnered with the experts. And you know, one of the things that when I looked at this small, incredible collateral that you guys have put together, it has all the answers. I can't imagine not going to a hospital administrator that says, you know, we're going to put together a cancer care center. What does Philips have for an offering? And I say, we have a full solution. We have a panel of partners. Look at who's on this list. You want to talk about end-to-end, beginning to end, what you need to understand from a billing perspective, from an IT perspective, construction, finance, everything on how to put the center together, we have the answer. And when you take a look at Philips, you hear sometimes, well, we're a little siloed. This is the group. This is our opportunity from a cancer care perspective to break all those barriers down. We have an incredible group of partners that have an answer. We have an answer for our customers in a care cycle that's going to become critical in this next decade. So cancer is something that I can see we're really focused on. And one of my commitments to this team is that I'm going to get together with Randy and Pat, and I'd ask our other partners with their sales and marketing teams, we don't have to invent anything. I would say just take this collateral. We'll write a cover letter that says, we've got a solution for your customers. We've got a solution on how we can solve their oncology issues for the next decade. And we have a solution where they're not putting up the sign, Cancer Care Center coming soon. We have an answer on how to get this done for you today, for your community, for your patients, and I'm committed to this. So we've got it all, clinical solutions, business solutions, and optimal patient care in one brochure. So I'm going to send this to the house of every one of my account managers, every one of my managers, and every one of my business managers, not just the IXR team, not just the X-ray team. I'm going to send it to all of them because, you know, when you take a look at the business side of it, somebody mentioned the commission's going to take care of itself because if you bring in the team and you bring in our partners, we've got a solution. And these aren't small solutions. These are big, multi-million-dollar solutions. I could make my entire budget for imaging systems just supporting the Cancer Care Group, and I'm committed to do that. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here.